Worst case bank failure versus worst case tax lien certificate failure is what we're going to get into here in today's video. So, as you know, in the banking system right now, everybody's talking about the failed bank and perhaps more failed banks to come here in the future. So, the question is, what happens if your tax lien certificate fails? Okay, what happens if you make a mistake? Or what happens if that tax lien holder doesn't pay you back your interest rate? So, first off, I'm sure at this point, a failed bank can be very bad if you have a lot of money in that bank. So, first off, the FDIC insures you up to $250,000. So, anything above 250 grand, well, you're going to be insured on that. So, what if you have more than that tied up in the bank? Well, first off, if the bank goes completely under and insolvent, well, you're screwed. You're out of luck. However, a lot of the times the government will come in and bail out the bank. So we don't know if that's going to happen here in this situation or not. But one of the things that has happened with the recent bank failure is that the bank has taken your money and invested into some longer term assets that they couldn't quite go ahead and liquidate to get back the bank's money. So basically, they had a run on the bank and they can't go ahead and give their lenders back their money. So here's the irony of all of this is a lot of banks are actually one of the largest investors in tax lien certificates. So they're taking your money and then they're going ahead and they're investing in tax lien certificates while they're giving you next to nothing and making a nice interest rate from tax lien certificates. So this would probably even be an example, or it is an example of, say, a bank goes and takes your money on deposit and then they buy tax liens. They're going to have to wait 1 to 2 years to recoup that money. So if all the depositors come back and want their money, the bank can't give it to them because that money's in a tax lien certificate. So, at the end of the day, what I love about tax liens is they're safe, secure, and predictable. And it's more about getting the confidence to go and do this business. Okay. So first off, one of the things that's happening that's a big problem with this bank failure is you have a lot of these startups who have like their money in this bank, and now all of a sudden payroll comes around and they can't make payroll. So that's a huge problem for the bank, and there's going to be a chain reaction to where we don't know the depths of. However, one thing is for sure, if you have a worst case scenario with your tax lien certificate, it's one of the only worst case scenarios where the worst case scenario is the best case scenario. And this is how you truly get those properties for pennies on the dollar. So if your tax lien certificate fails to pay you your interest rate, that's when you can foreclose and it wipes out the mortgages and it wipes out all of the liens above it. So that's why a worst case scenario with a tax lien is a best case scenario for you. So for anybody just tuning in, I'm Dustin Hahn. We specialize in tax liens and deeds and profiting with real estate and helping regular people get started in a business like this, which a lot of folks don't know kind of the ins and outs of. So if you want to learn more about that, make sure to subscribe to the channel right here. There's a subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up, turn on that notification bell, and we'd love to provide you with the details to go about the tax lien business, especially as a beginner learning how to profit in this industry, as it can be quite confusing. So first off, when it comes to the tax liens, remember there's over 1,500 tax lien counties out there, and they all offer different interest rates all the way up to 24 to 36%. Okay. So when it comes to a tax lien, 95% of the time, the tax lien certificate is going to redeem, because guess who's the largest redeemer of tax lien certificates? That is the bank, right? And here's why the bank is the largest redeemer of tax lien certificates is because if the tax lien certificate forecloses, it wipes out any mortgages or encumbrances on that property, because the property tax is always the first person to record a lien on a property. So therefore, he who records first gets to foreclose and wipe out above. So if you have the taxes and then you have a mortgage, and what's going to happen, the property taxes aren't being paid, they start to foreclose, the bank comes in and pays that property tax so that they don't get wiped out and lose their mortgage, basically. So there's a lot of funny things here in that regard. A, that the bank is taking your money and investing in tax liens. However, the banks also are what make this tax lien safe and secure and predictable. But the worst case scenario in a tax lien is the best case for you, because say you buy 100 tax lien certificates for $1,000 each, you're going to end up with interest on 95 of those properties. And then you're going to be able to foreclose on 5 of those properties and end up with 5 houses. So theoretically, and obviously 1,000 is a nice round number, but there's plenty of those liens out there at that price. So if you go, say you buy 100 at $1,000, your 100 grand, say they're on $100,000 properties, it's possible to turn that 100 grand into 400 or 500 over a couple years just by foreclosing on the tax liens that don't redeem. So that's why the worst case is the best case scenario for you. And that's why I love this business. The big problem is when you're getting started, it's confusing. You kind of go down the rabbit hole of YouTube. And the good and the bad about tax liens is the fact that when you're starting, it's just so hard to find information because every county is a little bit different, right? So the easiest thing to keep in mind as a beginner is half the states are lien, half the states are deed. All right. So keep that in mind as you're going through this business. So it begs the question coming back of like, why even put your money in the bank? Just put it into tax liens to begin with. That way your money is getting interest rate on an asset that's probably appreciating in value. Now, worst case scenario, I guess, would be if you buy a tax lien certificate at the certificate sale. And from there, maybe the house burns down or it needs to be torn down. Now, this is very rare, maybe 1 in a couple thousand, but it would also come down to you having not done proper research on your tax lien, which is what we walk you through and kind of what this channel is dedicated to teaching you how to do. So if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to subscribe, ask a question in the comments. We're providing lots of info on the tax lien and deed business in regards to new investors getting started with this business. So homework assignment is check out some more of these YouTube videos and then go and see, do you live in a tax lien state or do you live in a tax deed state? Start to find out when those auctions are. Start to find out if they're an online auctions. Find out if you can buy them over the counter, which means liens that haven't sold, and you can get the full interest rate. So when you foreclose with a tax lien in that worst case scenario, like I mentioned, it's going to wipe out the mortgages. All right. So that is definitely one nice aspect of it. And then from there, you can go ahead, you can rent out the property, you can flip it quick. There's so many options to go ahead and do it. Now you can foreclose yourself or you can hire an attorney to do it. It might cost you $1,000 to $2,000. There's a company called Tax Title Services that can also help with the process there of the foreclosure, but worry about that when the time comes. I see a lot of people get so worried about so many things that just don't matter in the beginning of like, oh, what if this happens? Do I need an LLC? What if I foreclose? How are the taxes going to work when I make money? You know what I mean? So worry about making the money first and then worry about the taxes you have to pay. As far as somebody just starting out, depends on your net worth. Like if you have millions of dollars of assets in your personal name, which you shouldn't, you should definitely have an LLC to be buying these properties through. However, if you're like a sole proprietor, typical person, get started first, get making some money, and then you can set up the LLC after and start to move in that direction. Because I've just seen it so many times where folks get so caught up with the what do you call it? Get caught in the mud of like, oh, what should I name my LLC? Like, oh, Dustin, I want to do this, but I don't know what to name my LLC. It's there's so many things that keep folks from getting into this when really you could go and start today. You can call the county. Some people watching this will literally buy a tax lien certificate by the end of the day and call themselves a real estate investor. So if you want some help getting your tax lien or deed business started, I give away our best-selling book, The ABCs of Tax Lien Deed Investing, for free. It walks you through everything. This is the best-selling book in the history of tax liens and deeds. Over 60,000 people have checked it out. So it's free down below in the description. From there, if you want some help getting this set up, you can go ahead and book a call with us below, and we'll build you a personalized four-step strategy for investing in tax liens and deeds. Be very valuable, save you a bunch of years of trial and error. And then from there, at the end, we can chat about what it might look like to work together. If it's a fit, if not, no big deal. At the end of the day, thanks a lot for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.